Hey, it's Chris. Recently, I went looking for something that I wasn't sure existed, a small motorized standing desk that was really high quality. Well, it turns out it does exist, and it's made by a company called Branch, who was nice enough to send it over once I found it so I could do this review. Now, why would you want a smaller sized desk? 36 by 24 inches as opposed to a more regular sized 48 by 24 inch desk? Well, the obvious answer is that a smaller desk is gonna fit well in a compact space. So maybe you have a smaller sized apartment, or maybe you wanna jam this into your bedroom and you can't fit a full size desk. In those instances, it's gonna come in clutch. Now, personally, the reason that I went looking for a desk just like this one is because I wanted a new unboxing desk in my studio that would be two things. Number one, big enough, but then also it would offer me some flexibility. Because here's the thing, this room that I use as my studio, which I specifically outfitted with this wall behind me and some extra insulation and some other things that make it more suited to be a studio, is also about the size of a typical, home office or a bedroom. So it's smaller, and when you stuff it full of a bunch of studio equipment, then one way to make it feel bigger and to get more out of it is actually to shrink the desk down a little bit. So it's crazy. Now I can fit another full-size desk over here, have room to walk around and position different cameras and different angles without feeling like it's too cramped. Before we get any further, let me let you know my productivity course and my course on Apple's Freeform app, along with all my other courses, are 50% off right now just for you watching this video. Check out the link down in the description if you want to get more done with less burnout in the Apple ecosystem. And like this desk, you want to upgrade your life without overspending. So let me tell you a little bit more about this desk. This is the Duo standing desk from Branch. It starts at $499. It comes in some really great and really unique colors. So even though I've just got the standard white version here, which I love, there's some really great wood options. There's a really unique green option. So lots of opportunities to customize your setup, including the size. You can get a larger size Duo as well. But then there's also some really great accessories, which we're gonna get to shortly. Now let me tell you a little bit about the setup. It went basically like you would think. When I took delivery of this, I got several boxes. As you can see, there was a separate box for the actual desk surface, and then a separate box for the legs, separate box for all the accessories, which in this case included the drawer. It included the cable organizer, the cord organizer, and the extra power outlets. Now I have to say, great job to whoever designed the instruction manuals, the setup guide. It was super simple, well laid out, very easy to follow. But I haven't yet mentioned whether, number one, it's enough space, and number two, whether it's any good. I mean, can such a small desk actually be a super solid performer? Well, in this case, I think the answer is absolutely, definitely, positively yes. At every step of the way, I actually was very pleasantly surprised, from the delivery to the unboxing to the actual using of this desk. I guess I would just say I'm surprised and delighted. I'm surprised, number one, that this even exists. A desk this size with these capabilities is here sitting in front of me, and yeah, that I like it so much. Ironically, the biggest thing here is probably whether or not this small desk has enough space. And as you can see, I've got an iPad Pro, it's the 13-inch sitting on top of it. I've got a drink, I've got my phone sitting here, and I've still got space to spare. So for me, in this use case, I would say the answer is definitely yes. Now, full disclosure, I've got a bigger desk sitting over here in the corner. I've got a much larger desk in my office. So I'm not exactly using this as the anchor for my personal professional desk setup. But I think you definitely could. I mean, this could fit Apple's 27-inch studio display, no problem, with your Mac powering it, with an iPad off to the side. I mean, it'd be a bit of a tight squeeze, but you could do it. I mean, this is basically all the space that you need. It's like the minimum viable desk space. Now, I wanna talk a little bit about this amazing desk drawer. So one of the things that I've hated over the years, ever since I first tried a standing desk, was that you don't get a lot of storage. That's just something that doesn't come with most standing desks. Well, the Duo gives you the option, even on this smaller model, to have a desk drawer that slides out. And I gotta tell you, it's so smooth when you open it, when you close it. It's very quiet also. And I love that it's lined with felt. So number one, if you have a pen, like I've got a really nice metal pen that's made out of brass that I like to keep in my desk, well, that's not gonna rattle around and make a bunch of noise when I'm opening and shutting it, number one. Number two, if you stash things in there, it's gonna be easy on your gear. Next things next, I wanna talk about the cable organization. So I did get this cable organizer this tray that sits underneath the backside of the desk. I gotta tell you, the cable management is almost the best thing about this really awesome desk that has so many best things. And I think the reason that I say that is just it's so intuitive and user-friendly. So number one, it was really easy to install. You got these great little knobs that you can just turn to tighten or loosen. So really easy to install that accessory. But then also at the back of the desk here, there's also a little notch, a little cutout, so you can push this up flat against the wall and still have space for your cords to go down and rest inside of that cable organizer. So really well thought out. I did get that extra power outlet accessory, and that was also super easy to install, again, with that same sort of a knob that you can just tighten and move around. You can see there's kind of a channel where you can move it left and right and position it exactly how you want. Now I actually have the desk itself plugging into that extra power outlet, and then that runs out a perfect cutout out the back. So I only end up plugging in one thing into the wall, and I get all the power for all the gadgets that are gonna sit on top of the desk. So really brilliant setup. But I'm still not even done talking about the cable management, because Branch was so thoughtful here. There's some channels, like some little overhangs or underhangs, where your cables can rest, and you can run all the cables however you have them organized through those channels. And I actually didn't even need to use the zip ties and different cable management clips and stuff that came with the desk, because everything I needed was already taken care of and included, and nothing is hanging down and looking weird or funky underneath the desk. So the cable management is a cinch, it's a snap, and it just looks amazing with very little effort. So let's talk a little bit about the controls. It's a standing desk. That means you gotta be able to move it up and down. There's basically one control panel. It's so simple. I've never really seen one quite like this before. But here, it's literally just up and down. It's nice and responsive. It doesn't hassle you in any way, shape, or form. There's just a simple readout that tells you the height. Now it goes much higher than I think any human would actually use. It doesn't go quite as low as I kind of wish that it did, because I have some desks that can't go lower. Why would I want a desk to go really super low? Well, I like to shrink them down to the most compact form whenever I'm gonna move them, because either I'll tilt them on their side and slide them around on the carpet, around the house. That makes it easier. Or in this case, I'll just shrink it down and then carry it out so it fits through the door. Now, I just gotta tell you, while we're on the subject of moving it, this thing's heavier than it looks. It's actually pretty heavy. Now, personally, I can grab it and move it no problem. So it's not like you can't do it, but it's not light as a feather just because it's a compact standing desk. So keep that in mind in case it matters in your situation. I do just want to touch on the surface here a little bit. This is a matte surface, at least the one that I got, so it's not glossy, and I like that. I've had some glossy white finished desks before, and I hate those. The light reflects off of it too much, and scratches seem to show a little bit more. So I really like the surface here. I like the feel of it. For me, if you're not gonna go with wood, then this is the ideal desktop surface. Now, I've only been using this for a few days at this point, but just like any surface that you're actually using, you are gonna have to clean it off here and there, but it stays pretty clean. I think that's partly due to that matte surface there. So I can see a few smudges, where I've put my hand or rested a palm or something, but it's no big deal. One last note before we get to the conclusion here, there are some adjustments you can make on the underside of the feet. So on each foot, you've got two ways to adjust it, and it's just a screw kind of that you can turn to either lift or lower that part of the desk. So if you need to make sure that this is completely flat, you can actually dial that in perfectly. So would I recommend this? Well, you can probably tell this has been a pretty positive review so far, and I'm actually scratching my head trying to figure out, well, what is a downside to this desk? And at the moment, I can't really figure out what that would be. I would say for the price, for the quality, for all the different customizations that you can do, and the thoughtfulness that went into the design, all the way from the delivery to the packaging, etc. And then the fact that this fits into a bigger Branch ecosystem. So Branch makes chairs, they make lights, they make iPad holders and Mac holders. There's so many things that you can pair with this from the same company, especially if you want to start matching colors and stuff. I would say, yeah, this is a definitely buy for me if you're interested. So double thumbs up from Chris from Daily Tech here. If you have any questions, drop them down in the comments, see if I can get those answered for you. Don't forget to check out the courses, 50% off, linked up down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Later.